You know, have you ever been in one of those conversations about housing? You're talking about prices, or maybe how hard it is to find a place, and everything just kind of stops? There's this weird, awkward pause, and it's not like you've run out of things to say. It's because some really tough thought is just starting to bubble up to the surface.
It's that moment, that dawning realization, that collective, quiet, wait a minute, that just kind of hangs in the air. I mean, if we've somehow built a system where just waiting makes more sense than actually doing something, where holding on to empty land feels smarter than building on it, and where not building can literally be the most logical, rational financial decision you can make, well, then you have to stop and ask the really big question. What on earth have we tied the basic need for shelter to? Was this ever the plan? So how did we even get here? Well, this whole system didn't just pop up overnight. No, it was more like a quiet shift. I mean, think about it. Most of us, we just want a place to live, right? For ourselves, for our families. But somehow, the way we think about housing has slowly, almost invisibly been changing. There's this fantastic quote that just nails how this happened. It says, "Speculation didn't arrive with flashing lights. It slipped in quietly wearing sensible shoes." And that's it, isn't it? It wasn't some big, loud, hostile takeover. It was a slow creep, and it was disguised as just common sense.
I mean, you've heard this stuff, right? Oh, you gotta buy now before prices go up even more. Or just hold on to it. Property always goes up. It sounds sensible. It sounds prudent, not like some crazy gamble. But piece by piece, all that sensible advice started to change what a home is even for. The focus shifted from living in it to timing it.
And that brings us to what we mean by speculation here. Look, we're not talking about slick Wall Street traders flipping mansions. We're talking about something way more subtle. It's a change in our everyday logic, a shift to where timing and holding on and waiting for that future price bump starts to feel more important than just, the house itself, the actual place where you live.
Okay, so this gets us right to the heart of the whole problem. We've basically asked housing to do two completely different jobs at the exact same time. And the thing is, those two jobs are in a constant fight with each other. Let's break it down. What do we want from a home? Well, we want them to be available, right? And predictable, kind of steady. Honestly, a little bit boring is good. But now, think about what makes for a good investment. Investments do best when the thing is scarce, when the supply is tight, and when everyone expects the price to keep climbing. See the problem? They are pulling in completely opposite directions.
And that's the result, right there. You just can't have it both ways. When you try to force one thing to be both a stable place to live and a high-growth investment, something's got to give. And guess which side almost always loses? Yeah, it's the stable, available, kind of boring part.
So what happens when rising prices stop being seen as a problem and start being seen as the main signal of success? Well, once that happens, a few other quiet but really powerful shifts start to follow.
Here's how the logic of the whole system starts to flip on its head. Step 1. High prices don't feel like a problem anymore. In fact, they feel like great news, especially if you already own a home. So then, Step 2. Shortages, the very thing that drives prices up, don't feel like a crisis. They start to feel like a feature of the system. And from there, it's a short jump to Step 3. Delaying new homes, holding back supply, well, that starts to feel pretty reasonable, doesn't it?
And this is what happens. The incentives of the system literally change the questions we ask ourselves. Our main concern shifts from, is this a good home, to, what's this thing going to be worth in 5 years? And look, this is so important to get. This isn't about pointing fingers and calling people greedy. It's not. When millions of people all start acting in the same way for decades, that's not a moral failing. It's a huge sign that they are all just responding rationally to the incentives of the system we've all built around them.
So where does all this leave us? Look, the point here isn't to offer some easy fix or to blame anyone. It's really just about taking a second to finally notice this deep, fundamental contradiction that we've all just kind of gotten used to.
Let's boil it all down to its simplest form. For homes to work for people, supply needs to be able to respond when we need more of them. Simple. But for speculation to work, supply has to be slow, it has to be constrained. We are asking one thing to do two jobs that are fundamentally at war with each other. And that leads us to a really final and maybe uncomfortable question we have to ask ourselves. Before we even think about solutions, we need to be honest. Should the basic human need for shelter really be treated like a chip at a casino table, something you just place a bet on?
Because once you really let that sink in, the next question is, well, it's almost impossible to avoid. If tying homes to investments is what creates the scarcity, then who exactly benefits the most from keeping it that way?